You know, if your entire financial world is resting on a single paycheck, you're not just working, you're basically walking a tightrope without a net. The old rules about job security, they just don't apply anymore. So, to build real financial stability, we need a whole new blueprint. Let's dig into what that actually looks like for 2026.
This quote, it really says it all, doesn't it? The real issue for most people isn't being poor, it's being fragile. It's that constant, nagging feeling that just one unexpected event, a layoff, a big client leaving, could make everything unravel. And that fragility is exactly the problem we're here to solve today.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with something I call the income trap. Then we'll get into the high-value skills you'll need, how to actually turn those skills into systems, and then build a real asset portfolio. We'll also cover the common mistakes to avoid and wrap it all up with a realistic 3-year roadmap.
Okay, let's dive right into the biggest hurdle from most people, the income trap. It's really a way of thinking that keeps people stuck. And breaking out of it, well, it takes a fundamental shift in how you think about earning money. So that brings us to the central question, right? How do you build an income that doesn't just completely collapse if one source dries up? This isn't just about earning more money. It's about building resilience into your finances. It's about creating a structure that can take a hit, whether that's a job loss or a market downturn, and still keep standing.
This slide shows the crucial difference. Most of us start out on the left with linear income. You can think of it like a hamster wheel. You're trading your time directly for money. If you stop running, the money stops, plain and simple. The goal is to move over to the right side, to non-linear income. This is where you own assets that work for you, creating income that isn't tied one-to-one with your effort. Honestly, just getting this one mental shift is the key to this entire strategy.
So where do you even start? Well, you start by generating capital. You can't just build assets out of thin air, and the fastest way to get that initial capital is by mastering a high-value skill that the market is more than willing to pay a premium for.
First up, becoming an AI implementation specialist. Look, businesses are drowning in new AI tools, but they have no idea how to actually use them to make a difference. If you can step in and automate their marketing or their customer support, you're not just selling your time, you're selling efficiency, which directly leads to profit. You become a profit driver, not a cost, and that's why this skill is so valuable.
All right, skill number 2, retention-based video editing. The key word here is retention. Anybody can learn to cut a video, but a specialist who truly understands how to keep an audience watching, that is a total game changer. For brands and creators, more watch time literally means more revenue. So you're not just an editor, you're a partner in growing their income.
And number 3 is specialized consulting. The era of the generalist is over. Instead of saying something vague like, I do marketing, you say, I help software companies increase their trial to paid conversion rate by 15%. See how different that sounds? You're solving a very specific, very expensive problem, and you're promising a clear, measurable outcome. That kind of specificity is exactly what lets you charge those premium rates.
Okay, so you've mastered a skill. The money's good, but this is a really dangerous point because this is where most people stop. They've essentially just built themselves a higher paying job. To actually break free, you have to go from service to system. You need leverage. And this is the goal. This is what it's all about. Leverage is what unlocks that non-linear income we talked about. It's the answer to the question, how can I get paid over and over again for something I only did once? It's all about breaking that direct link between your time and your earnings.
And the process itself is pretty straightforward. First, you document everything. Your secret sauce, the exact steps you take to get those incredible results for your clients. Then you systemize it, turning your personal talent into a repeatable process that anyone could follow. And finally, you productize it. You package that system so it can be sold again and again without you having to be there every single time.
So what does that actually look like? Well, here are some examples. That process for increasing SaaS conversions, that could become a digital course. Your video editing techniques, that could be a paid workshop or a toolkit of templates. You could even build a small agency where a team follows your system. The point is, you've shifted from being the one doing the work to the one who owns the system that does the work.
Now, once you have a system generating capital, it's time for the really exciting part, putting that money to work. This is where we start building a true portfolio, acquiring assets that actually make sense for the long haul.
We're not talking about gambling on random crypto here. We're focused on 3 core, realistic categories. Digital products, which you've already created, have incredible profit margins. A content ecosystem, maybe a newsletter or a YouTube channel, builds trust and attention.
And trust me, those are priceless assets. And finally, small, simple businesses that provide stable, predictable cash flow.
I love this quote because it's so true. You have to forget about chasing the next big, hyped-up trend. Real wealth is often built on stable, predictable, and, let's be honest, kind of boring businesses. Things like laundromats or local service companies. They're not exciting, but they reliably spit out cash month after month.
Before we get to the final plan, we absolutely have to talk about what not to do, because there are so many myths and mistakes out there that can just completely throw you off course.
Please avoid these common traps. This strategy isn't about gambling on crypto coins or launching another generic dropshipping store. It's definitely not about jumping to a new shiny object every 3 months. And maybe most critically, it's not about just buying courses and never doing anything with the information. You have to take action. The main point here is that building wealth is a deliberate, strategic process. It takes focus, it takes consistency over a long period of time. It's all about executing a plan, not just chasing whatever feels exciting in the moment.
So how do we pull all these pieces together? Let's map it all out with a realistic, practical 3-year plan.
Here's the roadmap. In year 1, your only job is to master one of those high-value skills. That's it. You charge premium rates and you save aggressively. Then in year 2, you shift your focus to building leverage. You productize that skill or build a small team. And in year 3, you take the profits from your system and you use them to acquire or build those cash-flowing assets.
And this is what it all leads to. You go from having one fragile source of income to a diversified portfolio. You might still have your service income, but now it's supported by income from your products, from your content, and from your assets. That is what real financial stability looks like.
I want to leave you with this final thought because it really sums everything up. A high income is great. It pays the bills today. But it's owning assets that creates real long-term freedom. The goal isn't just to earn more, it's to own more.